In 1988, there was a company in Southern California growing tilapia called Solar Aqua Farms. And we, I believe, were the first to use this technique that they call Biofloc, but we called it ODAS, which was ODAS, and it stood for Organic Detrital Algae Soup. And it was the detrital matter, the waste from the fish mixed with algae, phytoplankton, and then it turned into this biofloc. And we just kind of had it evolved by accident. It really wasn't planned. The plan was to utilize green algae to have the filter feeding of the tilapia. But the waste, fecal matter, became a part of the water column, and then the floc grew on everything. So we evolved it through a method of extracting a certain percentage of the floc on a regular basis. And we used what was called an Imhoff cone, which is a simple device that's used in wastewater to measure the settling of sludge. And we figured out if you had it in this particular range in the Imhoff cone, it seemed to work best. It was something that evolved by accident, but it seemed to work. I wouldn't say we perfected it, but
can you please mention your brother's name who has done this?
It was Stephen Surfling. He was one of the early pioneers in the U.S. with aquaculture. He was a aquatic ecologist and marine biologist, and he did his graduate work with lobsters in California. And he worked in Southern California. There were a number of really clever, innovative people in San Diego that got into aquaculture in the 70s, and many of them came from San Diego State University, where they had a very good program in marine biology and ecology. It was interesting, but I was told by someone years ago, and it's kind of interesting, that sometimes the early pioneers are the ones that don't necessarily succeed or get the money and glory because they're
before the time.
And sort of the second wave comes along and learns from the early pioneers and benefits more. And I think he and some of those others were very early in some of this technology as it evolved. If they were still, today younger and coming up, I think they would all be pretty successful.
No, but he's like an unsung hero, and his contribution is immense. And
So he's my older brother, and he passed away 2007 from cancer, skin cancer. So
but God bless his soul. And a special thanks to you and him to do this wonderful job. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.